Alright, today guys I'm going to show you a couple of the oil filter remover tools that we have made by King Tools. Good quality made tools made over in Taiwan. So there's a couple of different options we have available on Online Auto Parts. So the first range I'll show you is the cup style. So good way to find out what size is going to fit most of your oil filters. You go through with your new oil filter and just go along and find something that fits on the side of that. Now you'll find this kit won't suit every oil filter, but it does suit a massive range of filters that you can get off. You'll find the filters that we do have available are secure. They're all available at OnlineAutoParts.com for most vehicles. The other next tool that we have is the 3-jaw claw type, which does all of these oil filter removers connect to either 3/8 or a 1/2 inch with this little adapter. So the 3-jaw one's probably my favourite of the oil filter removing tools. Does a massive range right out and then clamps on really nice and tight and will undo any sort of oil filter. Then you got your next one, which is like more of your old school style, which is a strap type. Still fits onto a 1/2 inch socket. Not the most common used tool, but it's still effective for most a couple applications. Also you'll find in-store only a Simforce oil that we have available, but you'll only find that available in stores. So today I'm just going to do a simple little oil change and just show you a couple little tips. In your oil filter, on this Honda I'm going to use a 3-jaw puller. It's always a personal preference. And then also it's always dependent on what you can actually get in there. So you always find an oil filter in a different spot. The engineers who make the motors don't think about the mechanics or the people that have to service it, so sometimes they are in a very awkward spot. And another thing that you'll have to watch out for is a lot of oil is going to go, especially on this one, on the lower subframe. So just make sure you do clean that off at the end. So we'll get this little oil filter. Once it's loosen the oil filter off, you can be able to spin it off with your hand. So I don't know if you can see on that video, you've got a lot of oil now over the top of the CV and running down on this lower subframe. So what we'll do is get some degreaser, clean that all up. Check the surface of where the oil filter mounts up, make sure the old oil filter seal hasn't been stuck on there. Remove any of that, make sure it's nice and clean. Then we'll come along and refit the new oil filter. We use a nice clean rag. Clean all this old oil off. If you don't clean it all off, you're going to go for a drive. The oil will come back onto your exhaust, start smoking. It'll freak you out thinking that your car's going to set on fire. Another thing is you're going to service it and it's going to sit on the ground at home. You're going to move it, you're going to see oil on the ground, you're going to think you've got an oil leak, but it's just that leftover residual oil that you haven't cleaned off properly. So make sure you get in there nice and clean it all up. Another thing with your oil when you're draining it, you just want to let it drain for as long as you can, get all that old oil out. So you want to make sure the surface where the oil filter is going to mount is nice and clean, that the old seal hasn't somehow come out of the filter and got stuck on there. So with that nice and clean, what you want to do is grab some new oil. Just put your finger in your new oil and just put a nice little bead just on that new seal and screw it on. Now you just only want to do this up with your hands. You don't want to use an oil filter tool to do up your oil filter. If you do that, you'll struggle to get it back off again ever. And then there's a possibility you're going to strip the little thread. They only have a fine thread inside the filter, so you'll feel it when you're just doing it firm with your hands. You'll feel it lock up, and then just a little bit tighter with your hands. So nice and firm, only up with your hands. Let this run for long enough now. You put the sun plug back in. Another tip with that one, never swing off it with a big socket and a bar. Always replace your drain plug, sump plug, washer. It's just nice and clean. Once again, to start it with my fingers. Move this oil drain now. Now, you can use manufacturer specs. Being a mechanic for so long, you sort of work out what sort of tensions are. So once again, with the thing, you don't want to grab two hands and swing off it. Just nice and firm, and that's going to be enough. If you get a little bit worried, you can go like that, but don't belt it really hard. You're just going to cause yourself more pain in the end. So we'll, make sure this is all nice and clean when you can get it up in there. While you're underneath the car, it's always good to grab a light and have a check around, make sure you're not leaking any oil anywhere. We'll go up and fill it up and see how we go. Alright, so when filling up your oil, you want to take it nice and slow. Always use a funnel. Now most little 4-cylinder cars will go anywhere from around that 3 to 4 litres. So what I always do is give it around about 3.5 litres. Check the dipstick and then refill from there. You never just want to go and put the full 5 litres in there. You'll get to check the dipstick, you'll realise it's a litre over full. And the litre over full in oil is not good. So we'll you never want to check it the first time, so you want to wipe it off the dipstick, let the oil make its way down to the sump. Check the level. Normal finger of thumb, as you can see on that one there, this is your low indicator mark, and this is your full indicator mark. Now between these 2 points here is roughly normally around about 1 litre. So we're sitting about halfway, so I want to put about another ½ litre in there and recheck. Okay. Yeah, clean it all off. Okay. So it's a bit hard to see, but we are a touch over the full mark. So don't be scared if you've actually gone over that mark. So we'll put that back in. It's actually good on that first time when you're refilling just to go over just that little bit, because you've got a brand new oil filter on there. It's not holding any oil, and all the oil is drained out of all the gallery. So a little bit over full before you start it. Always be sure to put your oil cap back on. Show you another little trick that I like to do with the oil cap. When you take it off, I don't know if you can just move the camera around, sit it on the bonnet clip here. So that's a good trick, because if you ever just go, alright, cool, you think you're done, go to drop your bonnet, the bonnet's not going to close. Then you realise, oh yeah, my oil cap's there, and it can go back on. If you put it over here on top of the battery, you get distracted, you'll shut the bonnet, you'll start the car with no oil cap on there, and you'll lose a fair bit of oil out the cap. So, straight back on. Now I'll bring the video back around inside and I'll show you. Do a nice close up of that. Right on the full mark. That's perfect, and we're back in and another thing to check while you're there is just make sure the seal's still good. Perfect. Done. Alright. So that there you'll find, I hope that helps in some sort of way. This is your basic service with a secure oil filter, Synforce oil, and using our King tools, all available at onlineautoparts.com.au. The only other thing I could say, manufacturers tell you differently on each car when cars should be serviced. Rule of thumb that I like to go is every 10,000. Some manufacturers say 15,000. I personally think that's a little bit too long. Or 6 months. So whichever comes first. Every 6 months. After 6 months, the oil compounds inside start breaking down and stop working efficiently. So basically every 6 months you should be dropping your oil and oil filter. Look after the car, it'll look after you.